Okay, so I'm gonna work a little differently than usual here because the only thing, unless let me look at something. I'm gonna be chatting for a few minutes here, everybody. So the one thing is I found it. Oh, you know what? Let's see what this looks like. You know what? I'm curious. I'm curious what this is going to look like for you guys. So if I do this, how does this look on the stream? I don't know how this is going to look. So whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. It's going to be whatever it's going to be. All right, folks. That's how it's going to be. That's what it's going to be. So yeah, the only thing is, for doing the eyeballs, it was very easy for me to. What's the word for it? Hold on, sorry. Just sending Lando a message. If interested. Okay, there. I've sent him all that stuff. I have no idea if he's going to watch this or not. But, I like to somewhat include him in case his kids are mesmerized by whatever I do. In any event, I'm going to go ahead and roll my opening crawl as it's just about 6:30, and I posted to both Twitters, I put on the Discords, everywhere that should matter. I have posted this, so whatever. What I did for the eyeballs is, I'm going to go ahead and roll my little thing here, is I had done a lock of rotation in widescreen because I figured for the format, for a widescreen general video format, that I would lock it to the widescreen, and that's why the eyeball drawing is a horizontal image, and so that way I could just kind of not have to worry about the auto rotation thing. But for the image I'm going to do tonight, because I'm doing something a little different for those who, I basically have been working on. I've been doing variants of a image that I did a long time back. It was kind of a concept for a music album. And so, that doesn't look terrible. That's okay. So see, normally this is widescreen, but that's okay. I've got a graphic behind it, so it's all right. I'm going to set my laptop aside here so that I don't have to stare right at it, because it's going to be tough to keep it there. So anyway, the idea was, or is, I guess, that I had done this zombie hand that was holding something up. That's going to be a really weird angle, though. To try to see the. You know what? Let me move this. So I done this hand, this image of this hand. That should be close enough that I can see it. Yeah. That way, if anybody actually A shows up and B says something, I can just lean forward and see it. So anyway, I done this zombie hand, which. What do you call it? That I had done that was coming out of the ground, and it was holding a cassette tape, and that was because it was for a synth album. And that didn't work out. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say it didn't work out. It's not like I was hired on spec or anything. It was just something where I had an idea for something, and I was kind of banding it about. And I thought maybe it might be part of some of the internal artwork, but as it turned out, it just, for multiple reasons, some of which were just that who these people ended up putting their album out with had their own stuff, and it was all kind of interior and internal and all that, which is fine. But I had this image I really liked, which was this zombie arm holding a cassette. And then I sort of was thinking about, because the idea was it was like, older media or dead media. That was the idea of the image. So I called it Dead Media. And that was holding a cassette. And then probably a week or two ago, I had redone the image because I made a shirt out of it that's on Threadless, on my Threadless store. And the problem was it's such a long image, and shirts are very particular, and especially when it comes to graphics on shirts. Different people have different preferences. I generally don't like images that go too far down unless they're wider, so I don't like thin, skinny images on shirts. But nonetheless, I left the original design up there for anybody who might want it, but then I made a shortened version where I basically, kind of what this image is, as you can see. So in the other one, here, I'll just do this because it's very simple. It's easier to kind of illustrate these things than to, let's move that way up to here. So in the original one, where this hand is, right? So if this is the t-shirt, here's the hand. Oh, it's hard to see because of the background is gray. Sorry. Let me make that white. White. Oh, did I not? Sorry. I always forget how this thing works. Oh, it's, you know what? Because it's transparent, or it's off. Turn it on. There we go. And then is this already white? Yes. Okay, so I'll zoom in here. So the original image was basically the hand, and it was, you know, this hand coming up and holding this cassette, right? So there's your cassette, you know, and then but it was a zombified hand, so, you know, it came down and it went way down. So the original is like this, let's say, about that, more or less. And, you know, there was blood coming off the cassette, and, you know, whatever, and bones sticking out, and tears and skin. It's a zombie hand, right? Okay, so as you can see, much different than this. And the problem is when you put that onto a shirt, what you ended up with was, did I really? Oh, I see what it did. Okay, so on a shirt, right? There's not anything else on this layer, right? I just made this layer, didn't I? Yeah, it's picking. I must have just bumped the screen somewhere. There's nothing there. So on a shirt with this, okay, what it ended up with is the shirt was pretty much, you know, more or less. I mean, this is an exaggeration to some degree, but not much. This is the shirt, more or less. So you see what I mean about this ratio here is no good. To me, a graphic like that should then be wider. You know, you should be going for like a full bore thing, and it wasn't. It was just that. So that's when I thought, okay, the kind of shirt I would want would be a shortened hand. So chop off a lot of that arm, right? And go down. I still like the cassette and everything. That part's fine. I like that. But now we knock the hand. Wow, why got so much darker? But whatever. So now we chop the hand down to this. Still have bones, still blood, you know, still the same basic image. But now you see what I mean about the sizing is better. Now how it sits on the shirt is weighted, for lack of a better term. More in style of what I like. So actually the shirt. But see what I mean? And I actually made this smaller. I'm pretty sure when I uploaded, I dropped this part down to maybe, I'm going to say about, maybe not even that big. Might have been more like, it was 75%. I remember reduced it to 75%, so it might have been about that. So this same image, the whole thing, contained in here. See, and that to me is a good weight. That's a good ratio for me. You know, so like I said, I left the other one. I left the longer one up there. But then there's also a shirt that's like this. And then when I did that one, I kind of thought about it, and I'm like, you know, there's other stuff that this could apply to. So I did the cassette one, and then I did a Super Nintendo cart. These are all up on, they're on Twitter. And the two shirts, the cassette and the Super Nintendo cart are up on Threadless already. Which I would jump and show you, but it's just, it's going to take forever. Actually, hold on, let me see. Here. Okay, there's the Super Nintendo cart. So you see what I mean about the arm shortened? That one's up there. And I just did this one, which is the Walkman. That one's not up yet. I have to put that one up. I'll probably do that in the next couple days. So this was the third one, which is the Walkman. And then I had the idea because the iPod was just discontinued. So I thought, oh, well, now the iPod, especially this is the original one, let's do the iPod. It's also, I mean, it's not dead media, but it sort of is. It's a dead media player. So now I'm going to do one I'm doing this. I'm doing the iPod one. So this will also go up there. So and I think I'll probably do VHS. Oh, somebody just popped in. FYI, sound like you're talking from the other room. Oh, man. Hold on. Sorry. Is it not using? Hold on. Is that better? Does that sound different? Did it not pick up I wonder if it didn't pick up the headset. Because it sounds like it's... Oh, man. All right, hold on. Oh, I know what it's doing. Thank you, by the way. Hold on. Ha 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 ha! Now, how much would you pay? You sound okay. The levels are just very low. They haven't gotten any... Now, so the sound didn't change at all? Really? Much better. Okay, good. Thanks. I don't know why it didn't pick. I have a feeling I have to connect a bunch of things. I think I started Twitch Studio too. So, sorry. So hopefully you at least you sound better. All right, good. Yeah, well, that's because it wasn't on the headset. So I technically was talking from across the room because the laptop's a good 7 feet away. So it's amazing you could understand me at all. God, thanks. Jesus. Someday I'll know what I'm doing. 2, 3, 4 years from now when Twitch doesn't exist anymore and Twitter's a distant memory as well. In any event, so I'll probably do VHS maybe. I might do mini disc. I won't do CDs. I don't think CDs are considered dead media yet, but certainly there are people who are trying. But I still like physical media, so I will stick with that theme for a while. All right, let's see. Am my weight good? Yeah, weight's good. So wait, is that weight good? Yes. Okay. So in any event, this is the iPod one, which I thought was, not that my drawings are often timely, but there is a timeliness to them. All right, that's the bones. Yeah, let's do the bones. I already did that bone. Now I already shaded some of this, as you can see. So I'm attempting to do underlighting, but just barely. Might be too big and hard to tell. Yeah, I thought about Laserdisc actually. That did occur to me. I would probably need two hands, which is not necessarily a bad idea. I just have to. What I need to do is I need to block it out on how it would look on a shirt. I mean, I guess they don't all have to be shirts. I like the idea of making stuff that goes on shirts now. I don't know why that's been my thing for like the last couple of years. I think it's just because I've sort of I'm at this point where I figure, well, the only way I'm going to actually see my own artwork anywhere is to have it on a shirt. And so, if I can make stuff that's fun, but it's not a bad idea, the Laserdisc thing. It might actually present a neat framing where I could try to hold something in a sort of an interesting way with the hands and work that into kind of the decrepit hands. One hand is a skeleton, let's say, and the other hand is more fleshy or something. So it's not a bad idea. I just have to work out the framing will look like on it. Because for the other two, I basically reused more or less the hand that I already had. This one I redid it from scratch because I knew the angle couldn't work. There's no way to actually bend, I guess a kind of, not the way I wanted to hold, not to have the fingers in this position. There was no way it was going to work. Not in a living hand, and I don't have access to corpses that I can position. So, not a bad idea though. Laserdisc thing is not necessarily out of the question. Okay, so we are on the detail layer. Yes, we are. All right, so let's see. Now, this is always a thing with me. I'm gonna go to the edge on these. Yeah, because sometimes on the interior thing, I probably won't go to the edge, so I won't have the lines be there. Instead, I'll kind of try to give them a little bit of a pucker, so you don't go all the way there, and that gives you this idea of a lip. But on the bones, since they're underneath, I'm fine with just going to the edge on it. So we'll just start laying in all these little detail things. And yes, there are people, I know there are because I've seen videos of it. There are people who actually have not just necessarily Procreate, but also I think his name, I think it was Greg Capullo, who is, or was, I don't know if he still is, who was the artist on Spawn for a long time after Todd McFarlane stopped doing it. He had a Photoshop brush that he could paint the chains onto Spawn with. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, where he was just showing. It was just generating the chains. And I thought, man, that's astonishing because how much work that saves. And really, this is the thing, because I know some people were like, oh, man, you're not really drawing the chains then. Yeah, except, you know what? Number one, whatever. The guy made the brush, I'm pretty sure. So, yes, he did draw them. He's just saving himself some time, which I have no issues with, number one, if you understood how much time it took to draw individual chain links. Also kind of rules out, getting so far into it and realizing you made a mistake when you could have that part automated. And honestly, who's staring at the chain links for the artistry? Nobody. I mean, they're accent pieces. But also, having that brush allows him to do things like, let's say, I'll just do this really quick. Let's say here's Spawn, right? And Spawn cape. Oh, big cape. Spawn, big cape. Jumpy man, big cape. Woo, hi, I'm Spawn. Fist, arms. Instead of having to draw every single little link, he could do wacky things like having the chains shooting all over the place because the brush does it for him. So he can create these interesting framing devices without having to sit here and go, okay, I have to draw this link and I have to make sure the lighting's right. I got to draw this link and I got to make sure the light. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's neat stuff, but honestly, it takes forever. And why wouldn't you make a brush if it could do it out of the links that you made? It's actually an interesting idea. I got to try to figure out how that kind of thing works. Not that I would ever use it because my dumb mentality wouldn't let me, but it would be more of a well, let's see if I can do it as opposed to actually using a challenge. But I'm a moron that way. I don't actually I still have not really managed to internalize the fact that there are times where something that saves you time is a good thing. The whole work smarter, not harder thing, but I just can't get that through my skull. It's just not the way I'm engineered. So I don't know what to. Hey, by the way, Craig, congratulations on your job, man. Because I saw your thing on that. What are you with? What is it? Blue Origin? Is that where you went? Of course, I'm saying this as if you're going to talk right back to me, but you'll type it in, I'm sure. But I'm pretty sure, I know you got a new position somewhere because I saw it. I saw the thing for it. Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's the Bezos one, right? Blue Origin is Bezos. The SpaceX is Tesla. Jeez, man. I mean, literal rocket science. How unbelievable is that? It's pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah. Just don't go near them when they're off. Yeah, the good, the good one. Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna. If I start talking about Elon Musk now, then I'll never shut up about it. And honestly, if you want that, you can go to almost any other technology podcast that's ever been made in the last 2 weeks, and you will hear ample discussion of Elon Musk. Rocket flight better than an airplane? Now, that's an interesting question. Would I be more comfortable on a rocket than an airplane? There's almost a part of me that wonders, and this, of course, is ripe psychological whatevering, that I might not actually mind rockets as much because it would be quicker, and I would sort of almost factor in that it's super dangerous. Ooh, I just used super that way. I'm sorry. Oh God, I hate when people say super like that. That it's more dangerous than even. Well, it is more dangerous than. I mean, I guess relatively, it's more dangerous than standard plane flight. You would know that far better than me, but I would guess if you actually looked at the ratio of fatalities and accidents. I mean, not in the modern age, obviously. Safety has come a long way. Well, I'm just refining some of these shadows, but it'd be interesting. I don't know how I would. You know what? Why am I even bothering? These would be purely dark. They're inside the hand. There, that's easy. So yeah, I mean, I can't imagine actually doing it. I think the heights thing would get me too. I don't think it would just be, but in a way, if I had to choose between the two of them, I probably would go with Rocket because I just think if it was going to happen, it would probably be a lot quicker, and no matter what, it would be over faster. So yeah, I probably would go with Rocket now that I think about it because, like I said, at least it's over quick. And I've always liked space flight and everything else. Problem is, you got to fly to the launch site. Oh, I could just drive. I could drive for a few days. But yeah, yeah, I tell you, I always get a plane somehow. Is always going to get me one way or another. Actually, that would be what I would actually be. That would be the part I would dread because I would be sure that I would die in the plane on the way to the rocket, not in fact on the rocket. So yeah, there is. It's a catch-22, I guess, for me. I mean, there's also drugs, but I'm assuming you can't take them for space flight or for rocket flight. That's true. You could, yeah, I would probably drive. I don't mind driving long ways. I don't. I don't like it, but I don't mind it. The way, especially long drives, if I can do a lot of straight shots, drive at night. Even though I know driving at night is, I think, statistically more dangerous, and probably as I get older, it will become more so because it's not like I got great eyesight to begin with. Man, I just had my prescription updated. Actually, this has been a week of, haha, look how old you are, moron. Because my glasses, I'm adjusting to them. I just got them a couple days ago, and man, my right eye is so bad. Somehow my left eye improved, which apparently happens, but it makes no sense for the way my eyes normally work. But my left eye got better, my right eye got worse, and so man, my glasses now. I think it's because the prescription is so out of balance. Taking drugs to knock you out so you sleep through it kind of defeats. Yeah, I mean that. Well, I wouldn't sleep through it. The stuff that I take doesn't make me sleep. What's interesting is it kills my short-term memory, but it just relaxes me. It actually, it's probably as close to being high as I've ever been because I just don't, I've just never been a drug person. But my wife has told me, and I don't remember most of the plane flight, which is good for me, that I kind of do the whole thing where I'm watching my hands and kind of just moving my hands around, which is, I'm sure, hilarious. I think the next time I'll just tell her to actually film it because it's got to be just ridiculously stupid to see in action. But yeah, I mean, what I would want Yeah, I mean it's such a brief because the flight. So yeah, I guess it would. There wouldn't be a point. Yeah, there at that point you might as well not give the seat to somebody who can enjoy it. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I mean, it's easy for me to sit here and muse on because it's not a reality. I mean, I'm not going to be on a rocket anytime soon. But if I probably. It's a tough question. I don't really know. I mean, if I'm being honest, just knowing myself, I probably wouldn't. I would chicken out. I'd be too terrified of it. I'd like to say that, because I'm just, I mean, I can look in the mirror and recognize my flaws, I think. And one of them is I'm just paranoid and terrified of just about everything, just the way I'm built. Not for any reason. I didn't go through any traumatic event or whatever. It's just how I'm structured. I don't know why. I shouldn't say I don't know why. My mother's the same way, and I think I just patterned after my mother. My mom is more that way. So her paranoia and fear over many things, whether real or perceived, is translated to me, and I'm the same way. So, it's just you are what you're constructed to be, and you can try to change things, which I do, don't get me wrong. I try not to let my paranoia become something that actually is detrimental, but at the same, because because boy, in the last few years, I have seen what that does to people, what fear of things can do. It's just, it's really pretty sad. So I try not to let it affect me too much, but I'd be a liar if I said I didn't fall victim to it and that there were certain things, particularly what I guess my OCD would be attributed to, that are you paranoid that your paranoia will overtake you? Yeah, no, actually, it's funny you say that. I actually do. I mean, that I should be, you're right. But you're right, I should be, and I am. I am actually. There are these things that I kind of, these exercises where I sit there and kind of do these little self assessment things that okay, am I operating in I've told people around me too, people that I trust. I'm like, hey, if you see me like getting squirrely, why the hell did I do the shadows? Oh, I know why I did the shadows that way. Yes, okay, that one makes sense because it's underlying, therefore the skin would cast the shadow upwards. I got it. No, I've told people, I've been like, keep an eye on me because it's generally okay. That's this, so I gotta put some paint there. There we go. It's generally when you think that you are operating in a completely normal mode that you're actually not, and that's where you need the people that you can trust to be like, hey, hey, hold the handbrake, man, going off the deep end. I've been lucky. Hasn't ever, that anybody's told me, ever been that bad. I mean, but yeah, there is a danger in it. I mean, paranoia is a very real and a very dangerous thing, depending on how much let it control you. So you try not to, but that's all you can do is try. But so yeah, when the only dangerous thing I could really see myself doing, and dangerous, this is a very relative term, is, and I've said this before, my wife can't understand this, and I don't know why it doesn't, is swimming with sharks. I would love to swim with sharks. I think it's just because I'm like, well, you're in a cage, and I'm not going to stick my arm out. I'm not going to stick my arm out and try to, jab the shark in his nostril and be stupid about it. I'd just be floating there. And that's not bad. That's kind of a neat thing. How come you don't have your category? Because I'm a moron. Because this is like one of those things where I forget, honestly. And honestly, I got to look up. I don't really like. I mean, I'm complaining in relative terms. Some of the stuff Twitch does is sort of mystifying. Why it doesn't have better. I mean, unless it's just buried. But I didn't see one that was. I know I should have changed it though because this was originally copied from the template that I have for the gaming streaming that I'm doing. But I have that on another machine now because it was honestly too annoying to have to keep switching between different things. So I just installed it on two different machines, and that way I'm running it on two different machines with two different profiles. So yeah, I forgot to change it. Oh, I forgot to put. I got to put black shreds in here too. Now that I think about it, where's my? Do I have a black layer? I don't have a black layer. Wow. Usually black layer is one of the first thing I did. All right, so let's get a black layer in here. That's astonishing. Usually I'm really on top of the black layer. Black, because black's one of those things that lets you define lots of stuff. That's interesting. I'm going to leave that hole alone over there. I'm not going to. Let's see. Planning on doing a, yeah, bikini stream. Well, What meager numbers I might ever manage would certainly be destroyed by that. Bikini stream. Hey, you know what? More power to those people. You know, if you got the body for it, go for it. That ain't me. That ain't never been me. I've never been the belle of the ball or anything, or whatever the phrase is. I'm not the beauty queen here. Hot tub streaming, not so much. You know, like I said, if you're gorgeous looking, go for it. I don't really care. It doesn't bother me when some people, oh, okay, well, you know, people do what they do. Let's do some strips of flesh hanging off here. But these will all be blackened out. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. That was all right. Let's do one here. You know, a little bit of skin just there. We'll put one behind the bone. Sort of good to have that. So a little bit of texture difference there. No, not like that though. It looks like fingers. Let's do a short strip there and a longer strip here. And a little bit of that. Okay. And we'll do one, do just a little simple bit there, just to give it some different planar, whatever Bob Ross would say. Okay, that's good there. Let's do a little bit of background on that, just to emphasize. Not that much. That's too thick. Let's do it like this. There we go. We'll do a little bit here, just to show that there's a little something besides the red. No, I'm going to leave that alone. And I'm going to leave that alone. And I think that's probably, yeah, that's what I'll stick with as far as the actual black layers on the flesh part. So we'll fill those in real quick. This is also something where there's probably a faster, there are people who I'm sure would throw this into Photoshop, do a fast fill on all this stuff. I do it all by hand. I just do. It's just byproduct of things, but I can use a thicker brush. I don't have to be ridiculous about it. I can use a thicker brush. Don't have to make it all where I'm doing it on the thin brush, because that is a lightweight brush I'm using there. So we'll go ahead and blacken this out. And this will just, and this is going to be a pretty, since Apple kind of with the iPod was big into the white and, you know, the very simple monochromish coloring. This zombie's flesh color tones will probably be very monochrome as well. So I will probably stick with a, I actually thought of doing all the flesh in the different colors that the iPods later came in. But since this is supposed to really be riffing on the original was basically just white. And this is in fact the screen gray that I pulled off of an image of it. I could get rid of the drawing guide. So I think I'm going to just stick with that. But I mean, the only problem with that is the hand is obviously a gray too, just so you can see it without the background on it. So, you know, why does it still have that on it? Is that just, that's really weird that it doesn't have a, why does it not have a transparent back? Oh, that's why. Stupid. That's why. So yeah, this is going to be pretty monochromy. Unless I change my mind and I make it into a color, which I could. I could make it into Bondi Blue Hand, I suppose. But I don't know. I'll figure that out later. That's always the last step anyway. Color is generally the last step. I just did the bones and the skin because I was doing internal muscle structure on this one, so I was kind of messing around with getting those colors right. Okay, that's a sharp edge. So for sharp tips, we do need a sharp brush or pen. I don't use brushes. Shouldn't pretend I do. I don't use brushes. So, okay, let's do this and this, this, and this. Okay, so we'll do the small parts. Small parts are a lot easier with a smaller weight pen. So we'll do that real quick and fill that out. Again, this is stuff that I'm sure that a smart person would do differently, but I save my smarts for other things. When it comes to art, I just like to have a good time, so I really don't care. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know how many of these I'll do, but there are plenty of things. It's sort of, you know, gives me that little nostalgia bit where, because we had talked about this on the show that'll be coming out Friday. Lando and I will be discussing the iPod, the original, as it was. Ooh, no, not painting. Painting's going to be way too thick. I just need the thicker brush. There we go. The Tech Pen, which are brushes I adjusted the settings on. So this is probably one of the few actual custom Procreate brushes, which is just because I don't like I my perfect drawing implement would be some mixture of a, wow, what are those pens called? Like a Micron and a Sharpie. Because Sharpies are good, but they have a inconsistent ink texture to them. They're not flat. I like flat. In other words, I want that black line to be black the whole way through. I don't want any smudges. I don't have to worry about the marker getting a little. No, I want that thing to be jet black, top to bottom. So that's what something like the Micron gives you, until of course it starts to run out of ink. But that's the idea of this pen, is just to give me a markerish kind of texture or response or whatever. Ink flow. No, not ink flow. It's the boldness of the line. I like the strong lines, but I like the Micron for the consistent uh, ink flow thing, or ink. Yeah, ink flow. No, that's right. Ink bleed. So that's the idea behind this one. And I basically only really ever work with a very small subset of what Procreate has. I mean, it's an amazing tool, very powerful. Um, but honestly, I just don't need much out of it because my artwork doesn't require a lot of those painterly things and effects. Okay, so we got some rotten back black flesh. There we go. So now we can get back into our accent lines, which are going to take forever with this hand. So now I did do a. Where is my pencil layer? Is it this one? I'm going to move this one up. Let's move the pencil layer up. Whoop. There we go. So, okay. So I'm going to basically follow these lines more or less for the darker areas, which I will have to do a darker gray for. Now I don't need all these. I just need the shadow lines, which is that one. Okay. So on my accent layer, which is here. Is that the bone accents? Yes, this is the non-bone accents. I'm going to create a new layer. Can't have enough layers. I mean, you can, and it will bring the iPad to its knees, but I'm not anywhere near those. This one can take how many layers? This is one of the interesting things about this. Where's the image I just had? Oh, here it is. So if I go here and I go to canvas information, this can take how many? This can take 60 layers, which I'm only at 50. Oh, I got plenty. Because I can start collapsing things too. This doesn't have to stay this way. Okay, so I'm on a new layer. So let's go ahead and let's do some of the simpler stuff. All right, so we'll just do some accents in here, since we have some shadows going there. It's a little annoying. I could do it. That's fine. What am I worried about? Okay, so then let's do it like this. We'll do this on the interior of this line. And, jeez, really? Get out of there. Okay, so then we'll do, and this is the majority of what is left for this hand, really, is going to be accent lines, because the big stroke stuff is done. There's really not much left in terms. Doesn't mean I won't throw in accent lines, and I will. Stuff like that or that. That stuff. That's all usually the last thing I do, is those small lines. And that's kind of just to break up the empty areas, that kind of thing. But it's not. Oh, I already had the shadow lines. Oh, I got that one right without even looking at it. That's nice. Okay, so let's go back to, and I will stick with this. It's perfectly fine. Let's stick with this. Okay, let's get the shadow lines going here. And those I have rounding around to the actual finger bone. Right. Okay, and that does that. And yeah, we'll just keep going with this. I will turn this down a bit so it's not quite so harsh on this. There we go. I mean, it's nice to have it there, but it can get a little busy, I guess would be the word. So we'll see here. Yeah, because that's going down. I don't know what that had to be for the finger bone before I actually put it in here. Yeah, okay. All right. So we'll do this. And this is what I mean about I bounce around to different. I can't spend too long in one part of a drawing. I find that I get bored of it. Also, man, I destroyed my hand. I was said signs of aging. I was the other night for whatever reason. It was like 2 nights ago. It wasn't even that long ago. I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't played Rez on the PlayStation all the way through in a while. Why don't I play that through? And man, did I realize that I am not. I mean, the last time I played Rez front to back, yeah, because I've played levels often, obviously. I like to just pop out a level or two when I'm, killing 15 minutes here and there, something where I just have a little bit of time, but not too much. So I've played levels out of Rez before, and it never was that bad. But I do remember, once in a while, because you're spamming the X button a lot on that game. So my hand would be a little sore. My thumb might be. What a gamer's thumb or whatever they call it. But not too bad. Never really where it bothered me for long. But then I made the bad decision to go ahead and play Rez front to back. And man, when I tell you that my hand was killing me, I mean, it was bad. I mean, yesterday I could not have even done this because the I mean, I don't think it's not carpal tunnel or anything like that. I keep an eye out for that too because that I don't want. It's just that I overdid it, and it's just a matter of hey, not 20 anymore, which is just it's terrible. I mean, whatever, it's life. What are you gonna do? But on the other hand, it's like man, oh man, I love this game, and it was killing me to play it. But I finished it. I did. I beat the whole game. And that was, also my stupidity was probably because I started feeling it on probably level 3. And I should have just stopped. It should have been, okay, you know what? It's not like it really matters if you finish this tonight. Why don't you give your hand a break? No, no, couldn't do it. Had to keep going. So, yeah, I'm kind of feeling it in my hand right now, as a matter of fact. But I will not make that same mistake. I'll go for a little bit longer here, get a couple more sections done. I'll give my hand a rest. I mean, luckily I didn't do much drawing or anything yesterday, so it was better, but it's one of those kind of duration things. I can tell the longer I'm using it that it's starting to it's just overuse. I don't think it's an indication of any serious problem. I mean, I'm not a doctor, what do I know? But I don't think so. Um, because I've kind of had this before, and it's generally been when I mean, there's been times where I've set up my drawing desk I mean, not in a while. Most of the stuff I do on here now, but times where I would sit there and not realize that I've been drawing for 3 hours, I had that kind of pain. And I think that's just, I mean, this was a while ago, but still, I think it's all related. Oh, man. Why did it? Oh, hold on. The iPad dropped out. That happened once before. Give me a minute, and I will. Whoa. Okay. Hold on. Let me get it back. Only takes a minute. Just a second. Let me do that so that I can repair it because it doesn't seem to like being in the forefront when I do this. But let me give this a second. Honestly, this software is so good that I don't generally complain about it. There we go. All right, let me hop back. And now, there we go. Yeah, I don't know why it does that. Every once in a while. That's okay. I guess it's because I mentioned I'm going to be winding up soon. Not winding up yet, software, so calm down. Um, but anyway, yeah. But boy, Rez is a fun game. So there's part of me that goes, it was worth it. It's a fun game. I haven't really kind of just lost myself in that game in quite a while, so nice to do that again. Just a game that holds up. I mean, very simple in a lot of ways, but so well designed, so addictive in so many ways that just, you know, great music. Music holds up fairly well. I mean, you can tell it's of its time in some ways. It does have that early kind of dance music, house music type of thing happening, but not terrible. Not the way some stuff does, where you go back and play, you're like, oh boy, yeah, I remember when this band was big for 22 minutes, you know? So it's not that dated, fortunately. Those games do exist. And they are somewhat amusing to go back and play because you want to go, oh, the folly of music in X decade. Because every single one, no matter how nostalgic you are for any decade, there are always at least, what, 2, 3 dozen bands that have one big hit that everybody's into at that point, and then you realize later, what were we thinking about with this? This is awful. That's every one of them. There is no period of time where pop, what do you call it? Pop culture. That's the word for it. That popular trends are not at least 50% garbage, and you realize it later. There ain't one. You can pretend, but it's not true. They're all every decade falls victim to that particular weakness, which is fine. Sometimes it takes that to sort out the really classic stuff, you know. And you can like whatever you like. So this is not me trying to tell you what stuff is good and bad. That's why I didn't name any names. See, that way, whatever it is that you really like, you can rest assured I wasn't talking about it. That thing you really liked, you were right to like it, and you should still like it because it's great. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. All right, we're going to do a little bit more here, and then I think I will wrap up for the evening. It's eraser. Damn it. I've got to disable that stupid. I shouldn't say stupid. It's useful for the people who use it. That thing where it switches to the eraser. That I do not need. Okay, so let's do a little bit more here. Trail that off. One more small row. And I think that will be it for now. Yeah, I got to figure out that iPad shading. Got to figure that out. All right, I think I'll wrap things up here, everybody. So thanks for stopping by and for advising me on my microphone mistake. I will try to not do that in the future now that I've done it once. I try not to make the same exact mistakes over and over. But anyway, I think I'll wrap things up here. And I don't know, Thursday I'll either do this or the eyeball block. Oh, actually, you know what? On the lower left of the screen, you can see the original thing that kind of started all this stuff. It's right at the bottom left there on the background image. I forgot because I was talking about it earlier. That's it. That's the arm right there. I mean, it's not easy to see because of the size, but it is there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch this off and unmirror my iPad. So I'll go back to there. That way I can... Oh, it's not in bad charging state. I thought it might be, but it's not too bad. It's the only problem with these new iPads. They're beautiful, wonderful devices, but obviously having the screen on the whole time will knock the battery for a loop. Anyway, hopefully this was a fun little stream for anybody who is 100% CPU. What is going on? Doesn't matter. Who cares? Have a wonderful Tuesday, everybody. We'll do this again, I think, on Thursday. I'll do some more drawing. I just don't know which. Maybe it'll be this because I am kind of on a nice stride with this particular image, so I'll just probably keep doing this. Or maybe it'll be the eyeballs if I feel like doing something that's a little looser and sillier. Other than that, have a wonderful Tuesday and plan to be back on Thursday, and I will try to categorize this as art. Other than that, have a wonderful evening and see you next time. Good night, everybody.